Hey guys, it's Isaac, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Kezia. This is kind of crazy to me because I have never had you in a video before. And so it's really cool, and I feel like I'm not acting normal or natural at all because I don't know how to do this. I've been filming videos by myself for like 10 years, and so it's awesome to have you here. And we're in Mexico right now. That's why the different set. But I thought this was a great opportunity for us to talk about our dating. And a lot of people have questions about why we dated, for how long we did. We dated for like, was it 5 months?
5 months. Yeah.
5 months. And when people hear that, they're like, okay, what was going on? Was there like some visa issue where you're trying to get a green card or something?
Except for we're in Canada. So.
Exactly. So not necessary. But so why would you say, like, why did we date for 5 months?
I would say, one of the biggest factors for, I think, both of us was just the fact that we knew exactly what we wanted. And that didn't necessarily mean that we had this like picture perfect person in our brains, but we had a checklist of things that had to be there, and we both found that in each other. Even before that, I would say that the main reason is just the fact that we were so incredibly intentional.
I knew pretty much right away that I wanted to marry you, and I told your dad the first time that I was out with him that I loved you. And this was like, we were boyfriend, girlfriend, like freshly boyfriend, girlfriend. And I was like, hey, I love your daughter and I want to marry her. And I could tell that like caught him off guard for sure. But it was completely true. It was completely true. And I think you're right. Like, we did have things in our checklist that were like, okay, yeah, you meet this, you meet this, you meet this. And at some point, to me, if I know you're the person, then why would we wait, right? But I think there is like societal pressure and even pressure within Christian culture, which is weird to me, that you should just wait for like kind of like no good reason.
Like that year mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you would wait for at least a year. I understand you want to like know how the person interacts with their family and is in different situations and stuff like that. Like that all makes sense to me. But I feel like you can get a sense of that shorter than a year. In a few months, I feel like you can get a sense, especially with the challenges that we went through and just circumstantial stuff that put us through a lot of difficult things.
Yeah, it wasn't just, what do you say, roses?
Yeah, it wasn't a bed full of roses, or it wasn't just rainbows or unicorns.
Rainbows and roses and flowers. And there were some really challenging things that we had to encounter quickly early on in our relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And that put a lot of pressure on it, and I feel like that supercharged our bond together.
Yeah, our bond became very strong very quickly out of necessity, really.
And even when you're saying like the thing about being intentional, it's like, what does that even mean? I imagine people are asking like, what does it mean to even be intentional? But like from early on, we were asking each other, I feel like, difficult questions, like about what we individually stood for, about what we really believed in.
What we didn't agree with was a big one.
Yeah, what we didn't agree with. Yeah, and I mean, even in this moment, I'm like having a hard time of like what we didn't agree with. But I feel like even in those things, maybe they weren't huge, but like we had to.
Well, I say that in like a not what we disagreed on, more so like what topics I had disagreed on previously and what topics you disagreed on, and if those matched up too.
I mean, one of those things for you, I think, growing up in like a very kind of strict reformed culture, was your like lack of seeing love within that community. And like now, more coming into your faith, seeing like, okay, I want to embrace both truth and love.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me too, that was like not nearly as strict reformed culture, but still emphasis is truth and correct theology and head knowledge. And for both of us, I feel like it was a convergence of, man, we want to really embody what we believe in heart and mind. We've
known people who have waited a really long time to get married. And even going into this relationship, my family knew that I was like, hey, if I ever date a guy and he doesn't think, or he doesn't know if he can marry me or not within a year. So I came into that knowing that too, and you were super down for a quick relationship.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm like, man, if I love you, if I want to marry you, then like let's get to that point, because dating is challenging. Like dating, you feel the separation, you feel
Yeah.
the disconnection. I feel like there was such a longing for both of us to be united, like to just finally be one. I can remember lots of like walks around your parents' house and just being like, man, we really just want to like be one flesh, like union. And that
Yeah.
wasn't just like a sexual thing. That was like
No.
a relational, like united in body and mind and spirit, and then, you know, having to leave at the end of each day.
I think that was the hardest point for me, at least, and I would assume that you would agree as well. Just not having to say goodbye, especially since, you know, the relationship is short and you have to work through things very quickly, and it gets very deep very quick. And just the ability to now not have to say goodbye after having difficult conversations
Yeah.
is my favorite part about marriage.
I mean, some people, you know, feel like they need to do it because of college or university or whatever else, and we weren't in those particular situations.
Yeah.
I mean, you're working a job. I was working YouTube, and like YouTube ministry.
Freshly.
Yeah, and so yeah, exactly. I'd just been doing it full time for a few months when we met, and so for us, it was like, well, let's just like join together on this path of ministry and life, and see what happens. And people would argue like, well, do you really know the person at that point? And I think in reflecting back, I don't know, what would you say? Like, what would you say to that? Like, okay, you don't really know the person. How could you marry them?
I would say that to a certain degree, it is true that we
Crazy.
did not know each other. I mean, definitely as much as we do now.
Maybe there's some naivety to like, because we had been through so many difficult things, there was it was a partial belief that we really know each other deeper, and I think we did
Yeah.
because we had been through those things.
No.
So there's some things you need to just, I feel like you just need to settle with, like, I'm not going to know this person to this degree until we get married,
Yeah.
until we are one flesh, until we're living together. If you're expecting to like have all those boxes checked, I feel like as a dating couple, you're going to be waiting 7-10 years and just expecting to finally, okay, do I really know this person?
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get to that level, at least personally, until you make that commitment and you have that security with each other to actually be 100% vulnerable.
Some of these, not all, but some of these really long dating relationships go on that long because of maybe a degree of a lack of intentionality.
Yeah.
Because it becomes very comfortable. You know what to expect when you're dating. You know, you get together, you do something, you hang out, you talk, and hopefully deep you answer each other's questions, but then you do say goodbye. And I feel like there is this routine that becomes very comfortable.
And that's not even considering the amount of temptation that is present when you both really like each other and really are attracted to one another.
And when you're as good looking as you.
Okay, settle down now. It was difficult for us to maintain those boundaries. It was challenging, and
We had to set up some very funny rules in our engagement.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that's kind of dumb, but like you have to do it because temptation is easy to fall into because you really like each other. Once you know, then get married. I think the Bible is clear about that. It's better to marry than to burn.
If the entire relationship is based off a burning, that is not reason to get married.
Right.
And so with that needs to be intentionality to find out what you need to find out before you get married, apart from a sexual chemistry.
Yeah, right. Because plenty of people would be like, okay, well, I'm attracted to this person and, there's a sexual tension, so I should just get married. And I think there are Christian couples that are like that, and they end up experiencing really challenging dynamics later on because there wasn't that relational, emotional foundation. It was just, well, we really want to have sex. We really want to cross these boundaries. So let's just get married really quick. I think it's important that we highlight, like, just as we're talking about this, that I think newlywed couples need to be careful and even, take this advice with a grain of salt, because this is what we did, right? This is what made sense for us. But there are a lot of factors to consider, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And I think we both laugh when, newlywed couples go on social media and they're like immediately like, this is how you're supposed to conduct your relationship. This is what works for every relationship. I'm not saying you got to get married in 5 months. That might be a really stupid thing for you to do.
Correct.
But it also might be a stupid thing for you to get married in 7 years, right? And I think that's where discernment comes in. and actually having people in your life that care for you, that can give you that wisdom, but then also being able to see people in your life that maybe are not giving you the best advice too. There's a balance to that, at least in our experience.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Like when we were engaged, we had a lot of freshly married people or semi-freshly married
totally.
people giving us a lot of advice that was so deeply personal to them. And
which is nice. Like, it's like, great,
so
this
nice
is
to
what
hear.
yeah, exactly.
Totally. But it wasn't necessarily, it wouldn't necessarily work for us.
It didn't apply to us.
It didn't
Our
apply to us.
personalities, our life
Yeah.
circumstances, our maturity level, like where we were.
Yeah, and I mean, if somebody filmed a video and was like, "Hey guys, we got married on our 3rd anniversary of dating," and they were pushing advice
Right.
for a certain timeline, it does feel icky, right?
Right.
Because if you don't fall into that and you're watching that, then you're like, "Oh my goodness, my relationship is not supposed to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not following the correct timeline, and God must not be happy with this," and all
Yeah.
these different feelings that can come with that. This is not advice. This is our story.
Yeah, well, and I think it's like wisdom to apply biblical principles to different situations, and that's the key. The key fundamentals. If you're ready for marriage and you feel like it's a stumbling block to fall into temptation, and you're kind of putting it off because of fear or anxiety or whatever else, it's like that might be a wake-up call to like, okay, let's get serious about this, be more intentional. But maybe there are other factors that legitimately it is a good thing for you to work some of those things out before marriage. Thanks guys for watching, and thank you, Kezia. I don't call you Kezia very often. Thank you, baby, for being with us. I'll try not to be as nervous next time, but I hope you guys were blessed by this video, and we'll see you next time.